What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020, not 2020, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads, fathers, and male caregivers. It's by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that team, that movement, that procession, we've reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world since 2020. And as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And we are broadcasting live on July 27th, the last Sunday of 2025. And the second half of July in Toronto has been very Triple H. And no WWE, it's Triple H, hot, hazy, and humid, not Hunter House Hemsley from the wrestling people. That's a whole other thing with Hulk Hogan, by the way. That's a whole other conversation. But it's been hot, humid, and hazy. It is again today in Toronto. For people who are watching around the world who do the Fahrenheit thing, is about 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about, I'd say probably 31 or 32 degrees Celsius. And it's been like that for the last few days. Toronto isn't used to prolonged heat like that. We get hot, hazy, and humid weather, but this is it. What are you doing here? You're watching Black Canada Talking. It's a place where Black Canadians give their POVs and takes about local, provincial, national, and international takes. And a few weeks ago, we had a dynamite couple on who was just having fun, dropping knowledge bombs, educating, laughing, once in a while disagreeing in a good way during their conversation. And I said, you know what, about 20 minutes, I said, we have to do a round two. So Fatima and Ron Gould are back. We'll have them up in a few minutes. And we're looking forward to it. And I see there's some people watching live. If you're watching live especially, do put some comments, questions, takes, etc. for the conversation. And I'm really excited because it's the first time it's been in a while since I've had a couple. I don't think I've had a couple on twice. So either they're really brave, really crazy. I don't know which one it is. So I'm going to have to ask them when we go live, but I'm looking forward to their conversation, them being back with us. So you know what? We're not going to waste a lot of time. We're going to go for a 30-second break, and then we're going to come back with Fatima and Ron Gould. All right, here we go. Good morning. Good morning. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show.
My name is Ryan Knight, one of the co-founders of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network. So he couldn't call an election now because that would be the most disastrous thing for the Liberal Party. I am predicting it's going to be this year where AI just starts to branch out on its own.
They did that on purpose.
You think so? Oh,
of course they did. Of course they did. And of course, you've got to watch the Morning Vibe. 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 6 a.m. Pacific, Monday and Friday mornings. And as you saw there, my co-host, Ryan O'Neill, Knight of the African Caribbean Business Network. All right, let's get some housework out of the way. I think I've done this backwards. I think if you know what, I did something wrong here, because usually I say subscribe. There we go. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show and hit the notification button. Yes, I put it in the wrong order. So I have it up in order, but I go, oh, where is it? Where is it? So subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show and hit the notification button. Also, like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and Substack. To advertise your business product or service on any of the platforms that I'm a part of, please email me at dr.vibe at the dr.vibeshow.com. And then also make sure you check out Indie Soup Media with Dr. Tachi's Independent Content Creators channel. 25 independent content creators, me being one of them. And she's been in existence about 18 months now, and they have almost 28,000 YouTube subscribers. I always have to make this point because Dr. Tachi never talks about it. Only 10% of all YouTube channels have over 10,000 subscribers. So think about that. 28,000, 18 months. There you go. All right. They are back. And Ron Gould. So let's bring them back to the stage and ask them how they do. How you do? I gotta mute yourself.
Okay,
There,
oh,
there you
we're
are.
fine. I'm fine.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, I received that. I received that. What's been going on in your world since we last chatted with you? What's been going on?
Uh, Life is pretty much the same. Yes.
Okay.
How about you? Isn't it?
Well, life is lifing over here.
Okay.
And did you put up anything new on your website or on social media for your music?
Uh, I mean, average stuff. I put up a video, like a reel here and there, but nothing substantial. Like you know,
Well, that's what Ron's been up to. And I have been out there promoting myself, the business, Ron, Green Curtain. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing an interview on Good Morning Barbados.
Whoa! How did that come about?
What happened?
There are some connectivity issues because we don't see you on camera at the moment.
Uh,
It's okay. We can wait it out. No problem. Or if you want, what we can do. All right.
well, it's okay. The I have to switch the camera from the camera that I have to the camera on the computer.
Okay.
Overheated. Okay,
There we go.
come back, Ron. You're gonna see everything in my background now.
That's
Here
okay.
you go.
All right. We got you back. No problems. So you've
Sorry
been on.
about that.
It's okay. As long as you're okay, that's the most important thing. So you've been on the promo roll, the marketing thing.
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm happy that you're back. You didn't have to say yes, but I appreciate you saying yes. Is there any hesitation about coming back for a second time?
Nope. It was great. I thought it was great the first time.
yeah, it was a good time.
Good
Good.
time.
All right. All right. So let's get right to it because there's still a myriad of conversation topics that I hope we can get covered. Or you know what I'm going to do? Coming up part 3. No, I'm not going to do it for now. Okay. So let's get into it right now. So what are some of the joys and challenges of working together as a Black couple in business and creative spaces?
What are some of the joys and
Challenges
challenges?
of working together as a Black couple in business and creative spaces.
I think for me, one of the joys is that there's always somebody to share when something good happens. Like Ron is the first person I'll call. Guess what happened? Guess what happened over there? Guess what happened over there? That's the first person that you call, your go-to person to share all the exciting things that's happening in life. I think that especially when it comes to business or when it comes to a new connection and you want to send new networking connection, you want to share, it's like, wow, that is the go-to person. You have somebody to share stuff with. That's what I think is one of the joys.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's definitely a joy. It's good to have somebody to be a partner in crime with, kind of. Just knowing that there's somebody else involved is nice. I tend to work alone at whatever it is I do, um, just because of the kinds of things I do. But at the same time, it's really good to have somebody to actually show the stuff to
Mhm.
and sort of just share with. We do work together. I personally think it really feels good to help somebody I care about, right?
Oh,
And that's what we
like that.
we help each other, and it's just nice. It is a good feeling to have in life to be able to help somebody achieve something that they want to achieve, just because it's what they want. Like it's nice. I like that. I think we both share that. I'm speaking for the team a little bit, but I can definitely speak for myself that way. Because, like I said, like we do different things, right?
Mhm.
And which is why I think it works to a certain degree because we don't really step on each other's toes. I'm not like chatty, and she is nowhere near as tedious as I am. So, somebody's got to do that job.
And that's the challenge. If I were to say that's the challenge right there, Ron is very tedious. Like I just want to get in, get out, and he's like, and I think that's because actually of the work he does, is when he has to listen to a tune and balance and do all the things that he has to do it. He always says it's tedious work, but somebody's got to do it. So his patience is for that is very good. So I think that would be the challenge is he's very tedious and I'm not.
Hmm. You both mentioned you work in different areas. How does your work in different areas inspire and influence the other person?
Good question.
Oh, I can say just really the thing that I think Fatima does best. She does a lot of things really well, but what she does best, as far as business is concerned, is she's very good at remembering who people are and what they do, and and she's personable, and so she gets along with people. They like she's a fun person, really outward energy. And I have the exact opposite. So that works well for me though, that I have somebody around who I really care about, who I trust, who can handle that kind of thing. Whereas I think on the flip side of it is if you have some really tedious thing that you want to get done, you can, I'm like the person you give that. I'm like the dog you give that bone to. I'm like all over anything that's kind of laborious.
And I think for me, the thing that Ron helps to enhance creativity because I was just, especially when he was teaching me to do Canva, I was just, can we not just stick the picture in the word and be done with it? Like, no, don't you see it has to go right here and imagine there's a this here and a that there and a line there and it casts a shadow and I'm like, what are you talking about? And then it may have taken a year for me to actually see what he was saying. And then I did something and he goes, that looks tight. When Ron says that looks tight, then I know it's good. So I think the enhancement on the creativity, how I see things, the colors, the shapes, the words, and because he's also a songwriter, that lyrical flair to it is really something that I've taken on.
So if I want Canva training, I know who I can go to now.
We go to her now because she took over whatever I had and she just kept on going with it. I still use it, but she knows a lot of stuff now. She's really good at it.
There you go. Big ups. Big ups. Well, maybe that's another service you can offer. Canva training, Fatima.
She's also a little bit of a tech nerd too. She knows computers.
Don't tell people that.
You like kind of person.
Nobody wants to know.
I can't stand computers. I'm not gonna lie. I work on them, but they drive me crazy. I find them very frustrating.
Well, I did it for 30 years. So I was the help desk analyst, and you call and I said, hello, good afternoon. This is the help desk. This is Fatima. How may I help you? So I had to solve people's computer problems for over 30 years. So that's where that comes from.
Ooh. I think you're glad you're not doing that anymore.
No, 100%. Because I mean, that was when everything was standalone and the color of the monitor was either green or amber. That's how far that goes back.
Okay, we'll just leave it back because there'll probably be some people who watch us live on the replay go, what is she talking about?
Yeah, right.
Like,
there's always been a GUI interface. No, there hasn't.
Thank you. I want to turn on the other side now. How do you handle when you have disagreements or conflicts, whether at home or business?
That's a good question. For me, the there's one and the same because we're not different people in the personal and in business because you're still dealing with the same person and the personality still stands to be that. And I made a commitment a long time ago because not everybody's same cloth raised the same way. You got two people who one is a Western background, one is Canadian, one raised, we're raised differently, very, very, very differently. And so I always tend to, well, this is the way we did it in Barbados. He goes, nah, that's not a Barbados thing. That's a you thing or your mom thing. But I know I beg to differ. The whole of Barbados does that. So he comes with a lot, and then I have to And then amongst the yelling and the screaming, I said, okay, I'm committed to go past that to see what the end are we committed to and what issue are we solving. And then over the years, then it became, you're not listening, I'm not listening, you're not listening, you're not listening, to actually then listening and coming from the facts. What are the facts and the what so about the situation, and bringing it there. So when we get back to the facts and the what so, then it's devoid of any emotion at times. Sometimes there's still a little bit of emotion, still a little bit of charge, but I find that how do we resolve that for me is getting to the facts and the what so of the situation and less of emotions.
Okay. Well,
I don't know what Ron's response is, but that's mine.
okay.
What was the question again?
How do you handle disagreements, whether it's business wise or between you two personal?
Um, I mean, well, if it's a businessy sort of disagreement, it really for me comes down to whoever is the primary person on whatever's going on. If she has a situation where she finds herself in business wise and she wants to do something a certain way, and I don't think it's a good idea. To be perfectly honest with you, at the end of the day, who gives a shit what I think? I mean, it's her thing, right? And I can opinion,
Oh
and
my
I'll be
God.
and I will voice my opinion, but a disagreement after that, there's no disagreement really. I've given my 2 cents worth, and that's that. And vice versa, on the other side, like because I won't give in if it's my thing, and I think it should be a particular way. I'm just stubborn that way. So she's not an idiot. She knows me, and so that's how that goes. With personal stuff, yeah, a lot of talking and a lot of like just have to understand that this is a person I have chosen. I chose this person. I love this person. I trust her. And so, if we have a disagreement, I have to assume that either I've got half the problem or I'm like all the problem or somewhere in between. And I got to accept a lot of things about a person I care this much about. So, and I can be a jerk. I'm an ordinary guy. Like, I go off on stupid stuff sometimes. Sometimes I don't actually know what I'm talking about, but I think so I need and that's about talking, and she's very level headed. She's a really good coach, as a matter of fact. It's really what she does, and she's very good at it, very good at arranging the situation so that we're both sort of talking about the same thing, because how arguments between couples can be two people talking about completely different things even though they're talking about the same topic. It's like ridiculous. But if you can if you got a person in that situation who can step back and go, yeah, but remember you said this, I said this, this is how it is. And if you're both willing to go, okay, well, I know you're not trying to get one over on me, things can go a lot smoother than they would otherwise. I've been in a few relationships and, they didn't stick. So I've learned something along the way. And one of the things I've learned is you really, really, really have to fall back on trust.
Oh my God.
Because if you don't trust, what are you doing?
This guy kills me. He said they didn't stick. I don't know what to say about any of that. I don't know what to say about any of that.
That's funny. How do you celebrate each other's wins?
Ooh, that's a good question. I was like, do we? I don't know. Like, what do we do? But when I really had to stop and think about it and again go to the what so of the situation, we celebrate the wins by acknowledging them. And that's something that in my coaching, I tell people all the time, you must acknowledge the wins. You must acknowledge, because you do, and you'll pick on the thing that didn't work and you'll blow that up and make that your whole entire premise of your life. But we tend to acknowledge the wins. And when something good happens, Ron always says, like, I'm really proud of you. Go on, girly. He always says that with a high five. Go on, girly girl. Like, that's what he says with a high five. And with him, when I acknowledge his wins, it's actually to create a future to stand into and to live into, so that when people recognize, oh, that was a shift in something, then they rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So for me, that is how I acknowledge how we acknowledge the wins. I'm not sure. Okay, Ron, what do
No,
you
I think
say?
you're right. I think that's the thing. Yeah, we acknowledge each other. That's all anybody ever really wants. Want is acknowledgement. I mean, it's such a big deal to people.
Absolutely.
And if you're in this kind of relationship, yeah, you have to celebrate every win. It doesn't matter how big or small. And it's simple as saying, "Way to go! That's all right. You did good."
Yeah, or I'm proud of you, or something like that. Some kind of word, and then there's always an embrace. We always are hugging each other, or there's some kind of a touching, because Ron's love language is touch, and mine is like acts of service or gifts. So we intuitively know that about each other, and so that's the thing that we do.
Mm, okay. Are there any rituals or routines you've created together for connection and relaxation? Because both you have a lot of things on the go. Do you take time to connect and relax?
We take time on the weekends to connect
Okay.
and to relax.
Okay.
That's what I would say about that.
Okay. Are there any activities that you do? I don't know
Listen,
why that was a loaded question, but I'm going to try.
Because
yeah,
it's
I
really
know.
it's a family show.
Yes.
To be perfectly, I know where she's going with this, but obviously married man. But uh, yeah. So
Oh my god.
um, uh, but when I come home from work every day, we like chill and we like there's this like space of time where we sit on the sofa, we hang out, and like the cats need to be fed. I'm hungry, so I put on some food, some leftovers, like that kind of thing, and then we'll just chill out for a little bit, and then we get back to whatever it is we got to do. That is a ritual
That
we
is a
do
ritual.
completely for each other. Because truth be told, I'm always telling myself I should just come home, I should go straight up and get back to work on my stuff, but I don't because I'm hungry and I gotta say hi to her. And if I say hi to her, I'm gonna start talking to her. So if I'm gonna start, it just happened that way. It's a very natural part of for things to go that way every day, almost every weekday. So that's a ritual.
And another
That's a good
ritual that is a good ritual we came up with maybe 7 years ago now, maybe 8 years ago now. On the weekends, Ron makes me an omelet,
Oh,
and it's not the same omelet.
okay.
And yesterday, this omelet looked like it was kind of like slapped together, and I'm like, "Where's the swirls in my omelet? Where's the this and the cheese?" And there's like, I know he takes the chopsticks and he swirls the egg around so it looks like a croissant. I think it's a Japanese way of making omelets.
I think that's a learning.
Yeah. And so takes the presentation of the omelet to another level. But this is like a plain old Jane omelet, and I was like, what's going on with my omelets today?
Mm,
So that's another thing that ritual we have. I get an omelet Saturdays and Sundays.
very nice. Head chef. All right, head chef. I'm impressed. Good stuff. So we are, just to do a reset here, we're hanging out with Fatima and Ron Gould. We're talking about Black couples living and working together, part two. And I also want to put up there, if you want to get a hold of Ms. Fatima, we can put up on the days up on our screen. There's her website. There's her Instagram. There's her LinkedIn. Every day. She's everywhere. She's like all over the continent. She's all over the continent. So let's get back to our conversation piece. Can each of you share a time when your partner's encouragement helped you overcome a challenge?
I would say yes. I would say last year we were going to Barbados on vacation, and I said, "Do you want to come?" And then he said, "If it's for business, then yes, I will come." And I would like, okay, that was a challenge because I would go on vacation, relax, take some time off. And he's like, I can't see me wrapping my head around that. And I took that on as a challenge to how do we make this a business trip as opposed to a family vacation? Because I'm always going to Barbados on vacation. So I went out to turn that into a book signing.
Yes.
And I went to Les Chalk in Barbados, and they said, yes, you can come, you can book signing, and you can also do a speech. So I did that. And so that turned it into sales of 15 books. And then that turned that into delivering books to the National Library, to the University of Barbados,
Oh,
and the college in Barbados. So now the books are in UE, they're in the college, and they're in the university bookstore, and they're in the National Library with a Dewey Decimal Number, right? And turn it into going back there in May and doing a shop and doing a book signing again. So that one challenge of how do I give up my vacation time to actually now work now turned into uh, us having a real presence in Barbados, which now leads to the show that I'm going to be on tomorrow. So that was a challenge for me, and I took it on at the thanks of Ron, and now here we are.
okay. Anything on your end, Ron?
I wouldn't even. I don't know that I would have even started a business if I didn't have this.
Wow.
Because
Oh, wow.
I really don't. You know, I'm like the kind of person who I like skills. Like I like knowing how to do something, but that's not a business person. A business person is a person who knows about dollars and cents, money, and all that kind of stuff. And she has a background because of her family. She's been who were really good at being that kind of, I don't know, like badass business person, a person who can take anything and make money out of it. And I have respect for that. The other part of it is that I trust her, and I don't think there's anybody else I could go into business with. I just don't. I'm not a person who trusts people that, especially where money's concerned. So yeah, absolutely. And we came up with this sorted together, whereas we had a conversation about what are we going to do with our lives, and that went down. But if we hadn't had that conversation, I don't think it would have happened for me.
But it was also your idea because you said you can't continue doing the thing that he's doing with chopping meat for the next 20 years. What's he going to do? So we said maybe he said a sandwich shop, and then the sandwich shop turned into music, and then the music turned into a book, workshop, and now being on the Dr. Vibe show. So here we are.
Hey, thank you so much for including me in the journey. That's
Well,
fantastic.
you are part of the journey.
I appreciate. Well, not everyone includes it, so I don't take it for granted. I don't take it for granted. Let me ask, what have you discovered about each other when you do collaborate that you might not have learned otherwise?
What did we discover about each other?
For me, this is easy. For me, it's just it's getting my head wrapped around tech. Honestly, shit drives me crazy. When I first started making music on a computer, I wouldn't want to be listening to me. I would just cuss and throw stuff. I was so pissed off at this shit. I could not believe how many stupid little things could go wrong, and just trying to hook things up and downloading software. It's like, what? Where is it? I just spent $150 and I can't find it, but I need it. Like this kind of thing. And she's like, yeah, well, it's got to be somewhere. Let's figure this shit out. And so that really, like, now I'm like that to a certain extent. Like, what's wrong? I don't freak out. I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is just good for a bit. But yeah, that's huge for me. Yeah, you really taught me something about that. And one more. And just watching you like do stuff, it reinforces for me that whole idea that if you just keep on doing whatever it is you're doing, you'll get way better at it. You just got to consistently do it. Like that's watching somebody else do that is amazing from 0 to 150. So yeah, not for me.
Awesome.
Among other things.
What do you mean? What I got from Ron is definitely the artistic flair. Instead of things just being blah with a one-dimensional picture, and then text on a page, like I said before, I got to explore that creative side of me to make things really pretty, to make things sound good. He used to edit all my things. And so now I think I've gotten to a space where I can do that on my own, or I can, chat GBT is my friend. So I can do that now. But before, he used to read everything and look at all the pictures and take on the persona of I'm the customer reading it. How does it sound to me? I'm confused. It's simple, it's clear, it sounds good, you can put it out there. So I think that's one of the things that I got from Ron, and simplicity. Just the way that he, like his website, www.sideways66.com, that website is so simple because he said, when I go to a website, all I want to do is to buy what I want to buy. I don't want to read anything. I go there, I click, I listen, I buy, I'm done. And so making things really simple. So revamping the whole website for greencurtain.org to say, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, this is what you get, click on a form. So the simplicity of things. He's a very simple guy, complex but simple. And I think that also comes from him being a chef and cooking, things that look like simple. Okay, why are you making spaghetti and spaghetti sauce and you need to chop up everything in ahead of time? You need to put mushrooms in there. What is all these other things that you're putting in it? Again, it's the art and the craftsmanship that comes with it that makes it seem really good. And he takes his time. So when he's doing that one thing, he's doing that one thing, as opposed to me. I'll be doing laundry, putting away laundry, and the stuff is burning. But Ron kept saying to me, you can't be cooking and doing other things. You have to stay focused. And so now my cooking skills are way off the chart because of that focus, focus, focus.
Good. I think you may have answered this earlier on, but I just want to make sure we get it clear on this. When you're working together, how do you handle it if one person needs to step back or one person needs to take the lead?
Does that ever come up?
I would say it comes up in the overwhelm. Like if I'm in an overwhelmed state and I just can't, and I'm frazzled, it's like, well, I'm here, I can help you, why don't you give that to me and let me do it? I think that is when that then he then takes the lead on whatever's happening, and then I step back because I'm in the overwhelm. But like we're doing two totally different things. He is doing mixing and mastering, and I'm doing people front facing things. But it's still, I believe it's still in the overwhelm. Especially when you were editing my stuff, I had to take a step back from it, and I couldn't hold on to it and claim it. That's mine. I don't want your input. I don't want that. I had to then release it to you and come back.
Nice.
And I think you do it too in the listening. When I'm listening to what he's produced, I mean, I don't have the ear. I have to train myself to hear what he hears. But if it sounds good, I'll say it sounds good, and he has to leave me there to listen to it. And then I say it sounds good, or maybe this part sounds too loud, maybe this part's too soft. I don't go into the technicalities of it, but he has to step back and let me then listen for what I'm listening for, if that all makes sense.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, there you go.
Anything you want to add, Ron? Or you're good?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. Cool. All right. Now, you two may not think this, but I feel this. What does it mean to both of you to represent Black love and Black excellence in your respective sectors?
I've never thought of it like what you just said, but in speaking to people and encouraging people to write their own stories, I believe that representation matters. And if we can go out there and represent a couple in business that's actually doing it, July is 10 years that we created Green Curtain, and we've been out there doing what we're doing. It says it's never going to be an overnight success. It's going to be, this is our story. So if our story now culminates with Black love and two Black people in a relationship, in a business, doing it, and it's a good thing, then I think that we're well on our way to be an example of that.
Okay. Ron?
I don't. I don't uh, I don't have like a I'm an interesting person where race is concerned. I identify as a black person. I'm a half caste, obviously. Um, I grew up in a world that I don't necessarily even think exists anymore in a strange sort of way. It was like a little weird suburban world in Etobicoke that I grew up in, where I was the only black person I knew for the longest period of time, and I grew up in a almost not identifying with my. I identify myself as a anomaly. So the question's interesting to me. I would say that obviously we're both racialized people. Um, and if this is an example of what's possible, I'm like good with that. I don't know. We get along surprisingly well as far as I'm concerned. I relationships are sort of fraught things, and we get along well. And if this is what it looks like, I, great.
I think, and
I don't know what to
I
say.
think also too, being of a West Indian background and coming
But
from
that's a bigger
Barbados,
difference.
that's the huge difference. Ron was born here. He was, yes, he identifies as black, but he was raised in an all white household, so his culture isn't the same. So now he's got something.
Well, now we're
Now he's
having a
got something.
discussion. I was just going to say
We were
that's a
always
big
having a
deal.
discussion.
But that's a big part of it. I'm going to forget what I had to
Oh,
say.
sorry.
The big part of it is cultural that way. Like as in, it's not really, it's not so much about race. Where we're concerned, it's about culture because her culture is very strong in her, and mine is in. Except my culture isn't my culture. So, and that's really where I'm coming from, which is makes it all very nebulous to me. It's all kind of like I don't even really know what's going on when it comes to race. It's very weird. I just think people treat each other like crap, and I don't like it. But it doesn't come to me the same way it comes to her because she came from a place where race wasn't an issue into a place where race really was an issue. Like just like that, there was like a stark line. One day she place where it didn't matter, and then the next day she was in this place it really did matter. Whereas for me, it was kind of like, well, it's like it can't matter because if it matters, I'm screwed because I'm in a sea of people who don't look like me at all. I don't even know what I am. So it's a different sort of thing. So when we're together, like, I mean, that's the thing. I have a very, very sort of Anglo-Saxony way of thinking. I can't help it. That's what I was raised in, for crying out loud. Hell, last week, here's the perfect example. Ozzy Osbourne died last week. And I
Yes.
listened to somebody on the radio talk about it like, what do I care? But my older brother was really into Ozzy Osbourne. I know who Ozzy Osbourne is in a strange sort of way. Like I have a, loud guitar. I get that kind of whole cultural thing.
Mhm.
And that's where I come from, but I'm still black. It's weird. That's all I'm getting at. It's
No
different.
problem. It's all good.
Different.
It's all you. It's all you. Let me ask you, what do you feel personal experience or looking at others in relationships? What's the biggest challenge balancing love and career?
Trust. Any day of the week. There's just like people are always worried about getting burned. Like, just saving face and all that kind of stuff. Isn't that what relationships like? Who wants to get stabbed in the back?
Hmm.
What do you think?
So repeat the question again.
Yeah. What do you feel for those who either in relationships or not in relationships? What's the biggest challenge balancing love and career?
Wow. I was gonna say I don't know if the two can even be in the same sentence, but then when Ron said trust, then that is so true. You really, and career and relationships and career, or relationships, business, especially if you're a type of personality like mine, who is always out there talking to people, being with people. I didn't grow up like that, right? Because if you think about it, being colonized and being raised very British, you're not very out there. You're definitely not very out there. Bajans are known as being very conservative. They're not loud. They're not brawling. They're not. you're always in the background. Having to develop a personality after getting into a business where you got to meet a lot of people. You're always networking with people. You're doing, like, you and I met at an event. Ron wasn't there. You see what I'm saying? But you're right. You have to have that trust that whoever you're with and that person that's outward facing is outward facing to promote the business. And that's one thing I realized maybe like last year. I was going. And then one came on me is like, you really need to go and tell him and make sure they're both on the same page with this. Hey, I'm out there a lot. I'm always at a vending market. I'm always at a workshop or doing this or networking or doing that. But I'm doing it for us. I'm doing it to grow the business. I'm doing it so that our 4 children won't be left holding the bag to look after us and stick us in a government run home. Are we still on the same page where you're doing your thing to grow the business and I'm doing my thing to grow the business so that we can leave a legacy and look after ourselves? And then he said, well, thank you for saying that, because it's very important that we put that out there, especially for me. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what was going on in his head, but I had to say it to bring us back to the same page. And that same page has to be trust. Because we can people,
Yeah. There's a big challenge of trust with people who look like us.
100%.
Yeah, trust. I called not Trinidad and Tobago the trust and trauma.
Trust and trauma.
Right. It's
right?
true.
Yeah.
And that's conversation. Is you have to continuously have conversation. You can't tell the person, I love you all during the dating phase, and then all of us get married and there's no more I love yous. Like, then that person is going to start to win. Do you or don't you? Do you or don't you? Do you or don't you? And then that's where the gap comes in, and other people and things can come in to tell you different because you're not talking to the person. But nobody can't come to me and say, well, he doesn't love you. I'm like, that would be weird because he's shown me, he's told me the whole relationship is built on that. So what are you talking about? And it's also, how do we build our confidence in Black children by, as soon as they go out, the world's already tearing them apart. But if you're telling them, yes, you're Black, yes, you're beautiful. I'm always telling my daughter, you're beautiful. I've been telling her, I've been telling my son he's handsome. I've been celebrating their wins and been encouraging them. So nobody can't come and tell them different. Oh, your parents don't love you, or this doesn't. Nah. They'll be like, nah, that's not the mom I got. That's not the wife I got. That's not the husband I got. I don't know what you're talking about.
Ron?
Yeah, same thing, really.
Okay.
Trust is really important.
Trust, he said it. Trust is very important.
All right. So another conversation piece I have. How has working together, loving together affected your relationship outside of work or business?
That's good. You know why that's a good? Because I was talking to my daughter today and we were looking at somebody's Instagram feed, and it's like, oh, I didn't even know that person was married or doing something like that. And she goes, well, let's look at yours. Do you see Ron anywhere? And then she pulls it up, and because people could say, right, we don't wear rings. We don't wear rings. I don't know where I could get the last name Gould from. It's not a Bajan thing. You know what I'm saying? So she goes to her page and she goes, wait a minute. Oh, there he is. Oh, there he is again. Oh, there he is again. You know what I'm saying? So it really is outside of here. It's about knowing that I have a husband. Like, I will say, Ron said this or Ron said that and Ron said this. And then they'd be like, so Ron, that's my husband. It's not like, I'm not that woman that's going to say, my husband said it, my husband said it, my husband said it, my husband said it. To me, that's really pretentious. People can do it. But for me, it's pretentious. But I give him a persona because that's his name. That's who he is. He's not just my husband. There's so much more to him than just that. So I like people like who know me and meet me going to know that I have a Ron. 110%.
Okay.
Do you tell people you have a wife?
Yeah. I don't meet too many people, though. I'm perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of an introvert, but I am the person who says, my wife told me, my wife says this, my wife says that. If I'm talking about something that I know that you know something about, and I learned something from you, I'm going to be straight up. I'm a little weirder about, like, sometimes, like, I'm like a kind of traditional guy in that, like, I don't need anybody knowing how awesome my wife is. Because they're going to want my wife. Stupid.
Love that. Love it. Ron,
Come on, man.
for a guy that's behind the scenes, you drop little knowledge bombs, these little quotes. This guy, I'm behind the scenes. The guy drops these lines and you go, okay, Ron. All right. You say you're behind the scenes. Okay, you do your thing.
I like my wife.
But isn't that funny? He's the my wife guy, and I'm just Ron, and he's my wife. And just should I switch and say my husband?
No, I think it works because actually, I think it's just like it's a gender sort of thing. Because no man wants to hear about what's his name again? They always be forgetting your husband's name, even though you say it all the time because it's annoying. That's just maybe it's just me, but that's what I experienced as a single man. I do not need to hear about your boyfriend. I do not need to hear about your husband. If you keep on mentioning him, you'll start to be bothered. That's good.
Oh, okay.
And
so you hear
what
he's saying?
I think women are the same way.
Keep calling my name, because if anybody who's interested, they're gonna know you got one. Yeah. And let me say, there was I'm not gonna name names or where we were, but we were in a particular place, and somebody was being quite overt with their actions towards me. Oh. And I came home and I said to Ron, "Hey, this is what happened." Ron was there the next week. You need to know that she has a Ron. He was there sitting beside me the next week. We're gonna go. Listen, don't. So if I come home and I complain too many times about too many things going on, he's gonna go from no, I don't want to go to yeah, I'm showing up.
That's it, brother. That's it. That's it. 100%. Now, Kevin says it's important to reassure. Kevin George says.
Kevin.
All right, good stuff. Oh, there you go. And people chime in with your comments, especially if you're watching this live. How do both you set boundaries between your work and personal time as a couple?
Well, I would say the weekend time, we don't answer the phone. My phone's always going off, not as much as, because I remember one time you called me at 8:00 in the morning. I was like, yeah, we're not doing that today. And that today, I don't know. And then I was in a program, and the guy who was a program manager had this nasty habit of texting me at 11 o'clock at night because he was always still at work. Oh. Ron goes, why? I'm not going to name this again. Why is he calling you? Tell him I said to stop. And then I'm like, Ron says you need to stop because he's not having it. Then we were at a party and he met the guy and he goes, well, my wife all the time at late at night. And the guy goes, I won't do it again. So the boundaries are letting people know, do not call me during this time. Yes. And we don't pick up the phone during that time. We don't. That time is the time. But that was funny. And the guy was like, oh my God, because he knows Ron and he's seen Ron, but Ron doesn't talk a lot, right? But when he talked, is like, and of course he had a lot of expletives. Why you call my wife at this time of night? And, oh my God, there you go. I just walked away because I told him not to call me because Ron doesn't like that.
So just adding on to that, what routines or habits have helped you maintain that healthy balance between careers and your relationship?
I think we're pretty chilled out about when things have to get done. If you have something to do, you have something to do. And the thing about business that I realized is that it's kind of got a life of its own, and it doesn't happen in a particular. There's not a time frame for it, really. You can kind of like carve one out if you want, but there's always opportunities that happen outside of those things. You just have to realize that as the other person, who's watching that happen, well, I guess you got to take this one. This one sounds important, and you just got to be okay with it. You got to accept shit.
And then the other thing is knowing the intention. What are we here for? Right? We're here for it. The business has now turned into a passion and a purpose for me. It was always Ron's passion, it's always Ron's purpose, but 10 years in, it's now my passion and purpose. Am I going to just give it lip service, or am I going to go out there and do the actions to get where I need to be, so that I'm on a Dr. Vibe show, so that I'm on a Good Morning Barbados, and I'm representing the organization? Or Ron saying he's working on a piece that I heard this morning. I'm like, that sounds like an intro to me to wherever I go. I would want to hear that as an intro, right? So it really is knowing why we are here. Why are we here for the business, and why are we here for each other, and why did we even create the business? If not, what's he always says that I'm doing what I'm doing. If I can't do what I'm doing, and if I was on him all the time, because he spends a lot of time in the room doing the music, the first thing that's going to come out of his mouth is, then why am I doing it? I could just pack it all up and just sit with you on the couch. Why am I doing this then? But you got to know why you're doing it. Got to know the why.
All right. Okay, as we're starting to wind down a little bit here, but it's got a few more to fit in quickly. Looking back, how both of you changed as individuals and as a couple since you started working, loving, and living together?
I would say that I personally am a little more dependable than I used to be. I have a bit of an artist mentality, and I kind of do whatever I want to do while I'm doing it. And I have a tendency to, in the past especially, sort of space out the fact that other people I might have said I was going to do something other than what I was doing and not done it. And I don't do that so much anymore. I realize that I realize how hard she works, and I've learned how to focus more on other people than myself to an extent. I'm not way there. I'm not.
Just be honest, brother. Be honest.
I mean, I when it comes to my time, I can be a little bit of a dick because I really want to get what I'm doing done. I'm a jerk to myself. I stay up too late. I have a miserable day the next day but realizing that the car's got to be filled up on the way home because someone's got to use the car to go up and make money. You know what I mean? It's a business thing. I'm far more attuned to those little kinds of things than I was otherwise.
That's a good example. That's a very good one.
Thank you.
And for me, how have I changed? I think that, being raised in the culture that I'm raised on, I'm going to say in my example of how the women treat the men in my family, I would say,
I lucked out.
Oh my God. I would say the description would be kind of emasculating. Dude.
With this section here, there should be a part 3, but I'm going to let you go on that. Go on.
I would say that it's kind of emasculating. I would say that it is, where they say the men are supposed to be the head of the household, but you would get the neck turn and and then you'd have to say, so why did you marry the person? Why are you with the person if you're not both heading your household, or you can't trust him to head certain parts of it? So I think, and the other part of that is the open display of affection. That is not happening. That is not going on. They're not doing that. I didn't grow up seeing couples do that around me in my family. So you get somebody like Ron who's like wants to hug you and kiss you and say goodbye, and I'm like, so you can't kiss me in front of your kids? No. Well, that's not gonna happen here. Like, you need to get over that real quick. So I got over that, right? The open displays of affection. The first time I yelled at him in person, that was like, yeah, we're not doing that ever again because it won't turn out nice for you. And then I did it again, like years later. 13 years later, I did. I'm like, what's your problem? He goes, you yelled at me in public. Like, we're not doing that, remember? And I was like, I don't care. I'll yell if I want. And then I had to like, yeah,
Mm,
the ancestral spirits kind of knocked me upside your head, but you promised him you would never do it again, even though you were in a situation where he couldn't hear you and he couldn't whatever that was. There's another approach, so I had to go and apologize. So these are the things that I have learned personally, is to treat Ron like a human being and not somebody that you could tear down and talk how you feel like it and tell them certain things. And I think my son has also taught me that, because if I want to raise a son to be able to be the man of his house,
yep.
to be able to go out and work and provide for his house, I have to build up my son and I have to build up my husband. I can't be tearing them down and then sending, especially my son, out there for another woman to treat him like crap. He's not going to accept that. My mom doesn't treat me like that. And why would I let you come and treat me like that? And if I treat Ron like that, that's opening up a gap for another woman to step in and say, hey, baby, you're so nice. You're so this, you're so that, your husband, your wife doesn't properly, I can treat you better. And bada bing, bada boom, we're in a whole different type of conversation. So I had to be really mindful of how I speak to him and how I treat him. And if I need to go to people and say I'm sorry, I will humble myself and go and say I'm sorry. So this relationship has taught me a lot of that in a nutshell.
Wonderful. This is good. This is good. Probably second last thing. What's the biggest misconception people have about couples who work and grow together? And what would you say to set the record straight?
I haven't the foggiest idea, to be honest with you.
I think that people would think that everything is perfect. That if they
Do you
work
really think
together,
people really think that
yeah,
way?
because
I
if
don't
you're
think that
if you're
way.
working together, well, let me say, I would think that people think, and especially if they see you and you're happy and you're always, they're always together and they're always promoting, da, 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 you get this facade because you have a persona that you're going to give outside to the world, that everything is perfect, but they're fighting like cats and dogs, and then a year later you hear that they split up, right? So I think that nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect, and everything can be resolved in a conversation.
Okay.
That is how I would blow that myth apart.
Okay. And last conversation piece. What advice would you give to other couples who want something meaningful together but are nervous about the risks?
Just carefully consider your options on how to proceed, because that's personal business, right? Who knows what other people are going to go through?
Give me the question again.
Okay. Question again. What advice would you give to other couples who want something meaningful together but are nervous about the risks?
Okay. I would say to that couple, if it's something that they like spiritually is called to them, that to go for it. Because they have to know, who are you at the level of a human being? What is your beingness? I'm the beingness of hope. There's hope for anyone at any time and any age. So if that's my beingness, mitigates the risk, because then I would take the actions from the space of being hopeful. And being in a business with somebody uh, is risky business. But again, what are your intentions? What are the outcomes? And who are you going to be being in that couple that would make it work and worth the risk? Is your beingness.
Yeah, you got to consider why you think it's a risk and what is the risk. Is the base going into business? Well, it has nothing to do with being a couple. But what are you afraid of? Really dig into what you're afraid of and find out and have a conversation about that with the person you're going to do this with, because there might be something to it. But on the other end, but it could be in you. But I mean, at the end of the day, you're just trying to build a relationship, which means you're dealing with trust again and
Mhm.
having any. Uh,
Pussycat, your puss.
if you're having any doubts, you should consider it. That's
But
all.
and that's what I was going to say. And to Ron's point is that trust, right? That trust has to be there. It has to be the thing that drives the two people forward. And if you're a couple and everything is separate. So that's one thing I was a single mom. I was solely and responsible. And then, okay, you're going to give this person your mind, your body, and then you're going to make this person be financially responsible also. So opening up a business bank account, putting the person's name on it, putting the person's name on the business, that's all risk. But now think of, you're now in the business and you're not doing any of that, and somebody passes away. We're going to find all the information about the business? Where are you going to find all the information about the bank accounts? Where are you going to find all the information about the partnerships? Where are you going to find all the legal biz ramifications? Because now it's on that one person who was left because you didn't trust that person enough to do any of that, and you wanted to be secretive to go and find out about it. And then in two twos, you've lost everything because
Right.
you didn't know and you didn't trust.
Yes.
So that is something I would got to be able to for them, for your mind, your body, your spirit, your soul, and your finances. That's the advice. If you're going to do it all away, or don't do it at all. Because if you're the person left behind, you're screwed. And if you left the person behind, then they're screwed.
I think that's a good way to shut the door on the part two. Well done, family. Well done.
Did you
No,
have
no,
something?
you're good. We're good.
Okay.
We're good.
You sure?
Okay.
All right.
I
Before
have
we
to
leave.
work it out.
Yeah, you see, Ron, there is a book in you.
Yes.
There is
I have to work it out.
no, yeah, because
That's the
hearing
best
from you what you say from the journey you've been on as a black man needs to be heard.
It's different.
Because, like many of us, you've been through some stuff, but you've been through some stuff that I know many black men have never been through. And to see that you still admit that I have faults and you're still growing, you still make mistakes, but you keep on going. But the love that you express for your wife is something that needs to be celebrated and shown, just from my lens.
I feel you.
Just from,
We're hanging.
you know,
Oh, is that what we're doing?
ah, yeah. Because uh, Ron, you would make a great contributor because you bring, as we say, reason to conversations for men. Reason.
Well, thank you.
Reason. All right. Let's bring up Fatima's information or the family information on the screen before we get out of here. Again, I want to say thank you to both of you. And anytime you want to come back on, solo or together, we make room for y'all.
It was good times.
Really, and I my next is meet Ron, and I need to sit down with Ron and just reason. How about reason with Ron?
That'd be fun.
That would be good. That would
It's
be
a
good.
good time for real.
We're gonna make it happen because I know that I'm gonna learn some stuff.
Likewise.
All right. So as we finish up today, if you want to get a hold of Dr. Vibe, well, not go to my website, thedrvibeshow.com, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, The Dr. Vibe Show, Instagram at Dr. Vibe Show, X/Twitter at DRVIBESHOW, email dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. On Substack, you can catch me at drvibe.substack.com/subscribe. Blue Sky, drvibe.bsky social, and TikTok at the dr.vibeshow.com. Can't forget always subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification. Also follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and Substack. And also, if you advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms, email me. And you can watch replays of Black Canada Talking on the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and the Dr. Vibe Show website. As always, Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember self-grace. And if you're not making money, make history, but try to do both and always make it better. God bless. Peace to all. Keep the faith, walk good. And thanks, producer Matt, for another great show. Bye-bye.
Just take a quick moment.
Yeah.
You just introduce yourself. Let Dr. Vibe welcome you into the show. As I told
Oh.
you, Dr. Vibe.
No. I welcome. I'm really good to have you here. I didn't want to. You were on a roll. I didn't want to interrupt. You were on a roll, but
In an award created by whites, dominated by whites, run by whites. And you're a billionaire, bro. FYI, I don't. It's probably the first time of the year that I use the word bro.
yes, it is. That's the first time, as long as I've known you, you use it.
My daughter would laugh.
But for many people, the economy ain't great. Says, there we go. I saw that.